Hi, this is Chris Moore from Custom Marine. Occasionally receive calls from customers with exhaust questions. So we've decided to go ahead and put together a series of informational videos to help everyone out.
Simulating what's going to happen on the motor. The seawater pump is turning. Okay, we've got a digital tack and we can change the RPMs on that. Now, okay, here we've got a brand new housing and a brand new impeller, and I want to show you that we've got 10 gallons per minute going through the system, complete system, and we've got let's see, 3.57 gallons per minute going through the starboard header. The rest of it going through the port at this particular time. Now, we're going to put a used housing with a burn mark and a used impeller in there, and I'm going to show you the difference. We've got 6 PSI, which you'd be reading on your dash. Okay. Some of you at idle. Some motors will say 0 at idle. Some will say 5, 6, depending on your setup. Okay. Now, but on this particular setup, we've got 6 PSI. Now, look what we have here. We've got 7.83 gallons per minute going through this engine. Okay. 3 gallons going through this starboard side header. Okay. Now, they're not going to be equal starboard and port because up here we've got our heat exchanger. And the water takes passes going back and forth. Now, there's 3 passes and it goes out the starboard. It takes 4 passes to go out the port. So the port side on your motor is usually always going to be a little bit warmer because it has to take an extra run to get to that header. Okay? So there's all kinds of factors that'll vary in on that. You can have a weak impeller, you can have burn marks on the housing, you can have restrictions in any of the coolers. There can be corrosion in the coolers, in the cores, which will block, but it'll give you a false reading that you have actually more pressure. Pressure is not going to be the gallons per minute. The impeller that came out of there, it looks perfectly fine to the untrained eye, but it actually, if you can see here, is where it wears on that inner part of the housing and puts a burn mark, and then water and air can seep by. And that'll drop your gallons per minute at idle from roughly around 11 gallons per minute with a brand new pump and impeller down to about 7. So it's a drastic change. Now, on your pressure, you might see it, you might not. Okay? Okay, here's the 2 impeller and housings that we tested with. This one, obviously you can see the wear marks in there. That's what you want to look for. And then on the top side of the impeller, it's kind of smeared, a little worn. Now, the average person, you'd look at this impeller and say, wow, that's great, that's in good shape, nothing wrong with that. Well, I just showed you, there is. Now, here's a brand new one. This is what they're supposed to look like. No wear marks. The ends, very nice, very nice. Okay. That's why Mercury has you replace them at least once a year. If you're noticing that you're having some overheating problems with your headers, that's the first place to check. Check your impeller, check your housing, and then check for blockage. Sand gets in there, sand can get everywhere. So just a few pointers, a few things to check out.
I hope you found this informational video helpful. If you still have questions, feel free to call us at Custom Marine.